monastic members, and dear devotees. It's nice to have Revered Swami Dayatmanji Maharaj in our midst this evening. Swamiji is not new to Bangalore Ashrama devotees, because for about 17 years he stayed in Bangalore. Any devotee who came in contact with him loved to develop that relationship with him because of his sweet and cordial nature. In this ashrama, not a day passes without remembering Swami Yatishwaranji Maharaj. I'm glad to say that Swami Dayatmanji Maharaj was initiated by Swami Yatishwaranji Maharaj. Swamiji started his monastic life in Delhi Ashrama in 1963. That time, Swami Swahanandaji Maharaj was in charge of the Delhi Ashrama. Next year, that is 64, Swami Yatishwaranji Maharaj went to Delhi. That time, Swamiji took Mantra Diksha from Revered Swamiji. Then, in 73, he received Sannyas Diksha. Then in 74, he came to Bangalore Ashrama. Then for 2 years, he was in this center. Then he moved to our Alsur Ashrama, which was a sub-center at that time, to look after the affairs of the sub-center. During that period, the beautiful Alsur Ashrama, the temple has come up in 1990. It was inaugurated. Then after the construction of the temple, Alsur Ashrama temple, he was posted to UK. So from the last 25 years, he is in the London Ashrama. He travels widely on lecture tours, and he is always ready to help those who seek help from him. And he is very popular or known for his informal conversations. Through these informal conversations, many devotees get benefited, and he guides many spiritual aspirants. So that way, many devotees come to him for spiritual counseling. Today, we are glad to have with him this evening. On behalf of the ashrama and on behalf of all of you, I extend warm welcome to Revered Swamiji. Now I request Revered Swami Dayatmanji Maharaj to address the gathering.
Om Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. Revered Swami Harshanandji Maharaj, my pranams to you, my brother monks, and all of you, my dear devotees. Needless to say, Bangalore has a very special place in my heart. Even though I have been away for almost 24 years in UK, I never miss coming to Bangalore. It is for me one of the Shakti Peethas, because Holy Mother lived in this ashrama. That's a very rare event in the annals of the Ramakrishna order. Very often, she used to stay outside. She stayed at Belur Math. So far as I know, she stayed in Bangalore Ashrama. I am not aware in how many ashramas, monasteries, she really stayed. Apart from that, this ashrama was literally flooded with spiritual glory by the pure lives Swami Tyagishanandji Maharaj, Swami Yatishwaranandji Maharaj, Prabodhanandji Maharaj, now of course revered Swami Harshanandji Maharaj. He is, especially I like because so many ashramas have undergone unbelievable, unrecognizable changes. But I am so happy to find this Bull Temple Road has retained and remained and retained exactly the same way that when I was here. Not much has changed, one or two changes definitely have taken place. And I very specially appreciate revered Harshanandji Maharaj for that fact. Usually, our talks would be on serious spiritual topics, maybe Bhagavad Gita or Upanishads or any topic concerning with spiritual life. I have joined this Ramakrishna order in 1963. Now I am approaching nearly 73 years. I had the blessed privilege of meeting with so many people. During all these years that I had been giving the talks, for some reason, I do not know, it never occurred to me that I should narrate some of my associations with different Swamis. It's only recently that somehow the thought had come. I should share some of my sacred memories of great souls with whom I had the blessed privilege of associating. I think our devotees also really like this very much. We take the comparison, if we want a beautiful flower or fruit, we need 5 elements: the earth, water, air, time, climate. When these are supplied in the right proportions, the result will be beautiful, enjoyable, beneficial. Similarly, if we want to get fulfillment, especially in our spiritual life, we must have 5 graces, kripas. Bhagavat kripa, God's grace, in the form of a healthy human body and a desire for liberation and the association with wise people. Second is Guru Kripa. So we all have the first grace. We have the second grace, Guru Kripa. Most of us are initiated and naturally we got some hold, the way, a ladder to go towards God, to climb our way to God. Shastra Kripa, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Gospel of Ramakrishna, life of the great saints, all these constitute and they help us immensely. That is called Shastra Kripa. Even though sometimes it's not obvious how these things really help us, I am going to narrate one small incident because that is related to today's talk. Sri Ramakrishna had an intimate devotee, Ishwarakoti, called Purnachandra Ghosh. He became a householder and he had tremendous problems in life. He couldn't cope with them, so he decided to commit suicide. By the way, quite a number of Sri Ramakrishna's disciples are on the had suicidal tendencies. M, the very recorder of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, happened to come to Baranagar. He was thinking of suicide. His wife also was thinking of suicide. So interesting a fact, his nephew Sidhu wanted to give consolation and divert his uncle's mind, and he was showing his uncle round the gardens. Suddenly, while showing the gardens, an idea flashed in his mind that why not take the uncle to the Paramahamsa, as Sri Ramakrishna was known. And in those days, there were no specialist psychiatrists or psychologists. Sadhus acted as psychiatrists, psychologists, free advisors and all those things. So Sidhu had taken him to Sri Ramakrishna, and that event had totally changed his life, not only for good, but for the best, not only for his best, for all of our best. Strangest fact was, Sidhu disappears after that. We remember him only because he introduced M to Sri Ramakrishna. Coming to the point, Purnachandra Ghosh was thinking of committing suicide, and he decided, tomorrow I would take bath and read a bit of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, Vachana Veda, and I will commit suicide. He took bath next day and he started reading. At random he opened the Bengali Gospel, Kathamritam, and there his eyes fell. Sri Ramakrishna was deeply thinking of the welfare of Purnachandra, Purna. That was himself. So the idea came, if Sri Ramakrishna is really thinking about my welfare, why am I worried about it? Let him get worried about it. Suicide is finished. This is called Shastra Kripa. So many times, a random word. I can cite quite a number of examples, but today I won't go into it. One such example was Saint Anthony the Great. He went to a church for a Sunday service, and there he hears an old priest preaching upon Christ's words to a young man, if you wish to enter into the kingdom of heaven, you go and sell all that you have, distribute it among the poor, take up my cross and follow me. That totally changed his life. This is called Shastra Kripa. The fourth Kripa, Sat Kripa, Satsanga Kripa. This is what my subject today. I had the blessed privilege, very great privilege, of coming into contact, first, Bhavatarini Ma. She was the wife of Upendranath Mukhopadhyaya. This lady was very closely, she was related, distant relative of Sri Ramakrishna, very dearly loved by Holy Mother. The name Bhavatarini was given. There was a horrible name before that, I do not remember. She was named as Bhavatarini by Sri Ramakrishna himself. She had very close relationship with Sri Ramakrishna. She used to sleep many nights along with Holy Mother. I was at that time going to training center. This happened in 1966. I happened to stop at Varanasi, and there one other brahmachari who was also accompanying, recently he passed away, Swami Yatishananda. He came on my last trip here, Ramnarayan Maharaj. So he told me, why there is Bhavatarini Devi, would you like? I said, I jumped up and said, yes. So he took me there. My only regret was, I did not know Bengali at that time. And that lady did not know English. She went on talking. She was a very garrulous woman. She went on talking. I could not understand. A few things that Brahmachari translated for me, but I do not remember that. What I remember was that I was so happy that I have seen a person who had mixed intimately with Sri Ramakrishna. What a great privilege it is, directly meeting Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother. So that was first incident, which I would never forget, that old lady's face. Then, the greatest event of my life, Swami Premeshananda, one of the disciples of Holy Mother, whom now we know, such a great soul, he was in his last days. I did not know that fact at that time, so I went and then I bowed down to him. He was not even in a position to speak, but such a serene old face. The only word that used to come out of his mouth was Ma, Ma, Ma. 24 hours Ma. I bowed down at his feet, and of course there was not much conversation. He is Swami Suhitananda, the present General Secretary of the Ramakrishna Order, was his attendant, and he told Maharaj, this is a boy coming from Delhi Ashrama, Brahmachari, going to the training center. He nodded his head. Then I came back. Atma Prashamsa, self-praise. I do not know what happened. I came away there. Last year, Swami Suhitananda came. And we requested him, Maharaj, you narrate some of the reminiscences of Swami Premeshanandji Maharaj. And he was narrating. After that, suddenly he remembered, do you know Ramdas? My name was Ramdas. Do you know Ramdas? What Maharaj? You know, you came to bow down to Swami Premeshananda? I said, yes, I remember. I made pranams and he inquired and then I came out. What is the matter? He said, after you left, Maharaj said, very good boy. So, anyway, it's always nice to hear good things about ourselves. So I was very happy. I can also tell he was a very good sadhu. Not because he was praising me, he was one of the greatest souls. I really like him very much. So that was one of the sacred memories I have. I met Swami Sharadeshanandji, Gopesh Maharaj. He blessed me at Brindavan. He was a most wonderful Swami, Swami Premeshananda, Swami Gopeshananda. He was a great soul, and I have some reminiscences of him, not mine. Today I am going to narrate some of the direct disciples' reminiscences too, which remain fresh in my mind, and also some of the reminiscences that I have of great Swamis. I met Swami Triambakananda. Only yesterday, one of our brother monks reminded me his sannyasanim, Shakti Maharaj, who was a direct disciple of Holy Mother. Swami Varadanandaji, Swami Ishananandaji, Madhavanandaji, Swami Shantanandaji, Itishwaranandaji, of course, Gambhiranandaji, Vireshwaranandaji, Swami Ranganathanandaji, Swami Gahananandaji, of course, Swami Atmasthanandaji. Besides them, I remember quite a number of senior Swamis who used to be at Belur Math and who loved me very much, and they used to narrate so many incidents, which most of them, I have to confess, I do not remember now. Also, I met a number of disciples of Swami Brahmanandaji, Mahapurush Maharaj, and Vijnananandaji, Akhandanandaji, and many others are there. Some of these memorable remembrances, sacred memories, I would like to share with you, which would be useful. My first contact, 1963, I came to Delhi. For a few months I stayed at our Haridwar Kankhala Ashrama. Then I decided to come and join at Delhi Ashrama, Swami Swahanandaji. One of the things that is still green in my mind, Swami Swahanandaji taught all of our brahmacharis. Whenever you see any Swami coming to the ashrama, whether they come by auto rickshaw or taxi, in any way, run to them and take their luggage and take them to a room and look after them lovingly and never ever ask, how long are you going to stay? But peculiarly, I still remember, I have to make a little fun of Swami Swahanandaji. In Bengali, As soon as a guest comes, so it is our custom to ask, Kichudin achoto? Means, I hope you are going to stay for a few days here. But he has a peculiar translating this Bengali idiom into English idiom. How long are you going to stay? As soon as the Swami comes, how long are you going to stay? He says, Ore Baba, I just now entered into the compound and he is already asking how long I am going to stay. Isn't it? But people understood his intention. That's something, a great thing I have learned from Swami Swahanandaji Maharaj. First of all, I asked one of the senior Swamis about the future of our order. I don't know why I asked that question. But the Swami gave a beautiful reply which I remember. He said, most of the devotees want only excitement, neither devotion, much less vairagya. They go to sadhus who tell them what they want to hear. But a true devotee, he said, always sticks to Thakur. He never gives up spiritual struggle, even if he is under occasional depression. He never seeks any excuse for postponing what is more important. That's a very wonderful teaching. We are all weak people. We are weak people. And we become weaker as the week goes by. That's why Saturday and Sunday, do you know what they are called? Weekends, because we become weakened. We should be strong. It's not what we want to hear. It's what is good for us. We all like to be praised, to be given a certificate. You are a good devotee. I still remember some Bengali devotees came to UK and they were very aggressive devotees. They said, Maharaj, we are registered devotees at Belur Math. That itself started my heart to beat. Added to that, we know Sri Ramakrishna very well. Even I shrunk. Then I asked, that is very fine. I am so happy you know Ramakrishna. But does Ramakrishna know you? That's more important. If Sri Ramakrishna can give a certificate that you are a devotee of God, and how does he give a certificate? He doesn't write and give you. He elevates us, our mind, and we will never again turn towards the world. That is the dadami buddhi yogam tam enamam upayanti te. On whomsoever my grace descends, upon him I bestow that understanding which makes him quickly cross over this world. That is real certificate. Now, I would like to narrate a few incidents which I love. These all, most of them belong to the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. Swami Ramakrishnanandaji was once cleaning the tub of Sri Ramakrishna at Kasipur Garden House. He went out to clean the pot in a pond. When he returned to the room, it was a cold night, he saw that Sri Ramakrishna was crawling towards a shawl. Shashi Maharaj at that time. He asked Thakur, what are you doing? What do you want? No, I want the shawl. Why do you want the shawl? Arey, I have seen you going out in the cold. I would like to give you this shawl. I could not hold. A man who could not even move from side to side, he was crawling towards the shawl because of his great love for his disciples. Who can forget that love? There was this beautiful incident, Swami Brahmanandaji, the spiritual son of Sri Ramakrishna. It was 1914. Sri Ramakrishna's Jayanti. They arranged a musical program by a great Veena player called Pulin Mitra. This Pulin Mitra started playing Veena Swami Brahmanandaji and other direct disciples were sitting in front of him. And this Pulin Mitra was a disciple of Swami Brahmanandaji. Suddenly, Swami Brahmanandaji was shouting at Pulin, move over a little, move over a little. And Pulin, that player, started moving a little bit. No, move a little bit more, a little bit more. Nobody could understand why Maharaj was asking him to move. And neither the player nor the audience, nobody could understand. Later on, Swami Brahmanandaji explained, I saw Sri Ramakrishna. He came and sat by the side of Pulin Mitra. He wants to hear, Sri Ramakrishna loved Veena. When he went to Kashi, there was a Veena player, I think Mahesh. And Sri Ramakrishna went into Samadhi, hearing his Veena play. So Sri Ramakrishna loved this classical music, I think especially Veena. Nobody, of course, could see Sri Ramakrishna, but Swami Brahmanandaji was seeing. So he was feeling that there was not enough space for Sri Ramakrishna to sit on. It's a wonderful incident. About Holy Mother. This was recollected by Bharati Purana, Sarala Devi, who became the first president of the Sharada Math. One day at Udbodhan, this Sarala Devi, Bharati Purana, I think she was cooking, and that day a large number of devotees happened to come, and there was not enough food. Then she came and said, Mother, we have a big problem. So many devotees all of a sudden had come, and there is not enough food material to feed all these devotees. It looks, Mother got terribly excited. I said, what? My children have come? How can it be that there is not enough food? Let me cook. And she went. The miracle was, she cooked with the same amount of material, and that day, every devotee who was there was sumptuously fed, and even some more food was left out. And Bharati Purana later on said, that day, Mother had manifested her Swarupa as Annapurna. Another beautiful reminiscence about Sri Ramakrishna. Very few of us would know about it. One day Sri Ramakrishna at Dakshineswar suddenly called, all of you come, and I will sit all of you around me, surrounding me. And they all came and sat. They did not know what to expect. Sri Ramakrishna said, this is Rasha Leela, meditate upon me. Why I especially like to mention this. Whenever we hear the word Rasha Leela, the idea that comes to our mind is that there is Krishna and there are young beautiful women and he is dancing his way, his time with these beautiful women. It evokes a lot of undesirable erotic feelings. But this is the true Rasha Leela. A devotee or devotees surrounding the Lord, meditating upon the Lord, doing Leela in their hearts. That is real Rasha Leela. There was this incident by Swami Vivekananda. There was a place called Pasadena near Hollywood, and there were 3 sisters called Mead sisters. I think they had a brother called Ralph. And this Ralph loved Swami Vivekananda.